Right now, it's a pleasure to introduce our friend, John Ondrasik. Mr. Five for Fighting. John, how are you, sir?
Mark, nice to talk to you. I think those words have a little more significance after the events last week, so very nice to talk to you.
All right, explain to everybody what you mean.
Well, I heard that you might be in Israel last weekend, and I was in Tel Aviv performing at Hostage Square the night of the attack, and we exchanged a few texts. I didn't hoping to get together, but when the rockets started getting intercepted over Jerusalem, I was worried about you. I don't know if you were in a safe room or what you were doing, if you were scared, but boy, I'm glad you came through it. Thank God for that Iron Dome, right?
Yeah, and I'm being very honest. I wasn't scared. I was ticked off. I got very angry at these bastards doing this crap. And, it may sound ridiculous, my age, where I am, who I am, Americans say, I just felt like hitting back very, very hard. And you know what, John? And you can express what you heard in Tel Aviv. I was in Jerusalem. The Israeli people were not impressed. The Israeli people were furious about what was taking place, and they're sick and tired of this stuff going on from Hezbollah and Hamas and all the rest of it. What was your impression?
And they're incredibly brave. Before
Yes.
I played Hostage Square that night, they made an announcement basically saying, if a missile attacks, this is what you do. Nobody left. Not one person left. I was ready to run to my safe room. And after the show, I walked off stage, and they're like, yeah, you have to be in your safe room by 11 tonight. And I'm like, all right, everybody, let's go. It's 8:30. They're like, no, let's go to dinner first. I'm like, you guys, they're different breed, Mark. They're a different breed. They're brave. They live life. They understand joy. And you see why they've kind of like, for 2,000 years, overcome this evil that is Hamas, that is Iran, that is basically surrounded them. So that really stuck with me after kind of my experience there.
Now, John, you've been very supportive of the Ukrainian people, the Israeli people. Have you been concerned, like I have, of sort of an odd ideological, sort of weird viewpoint, which is, well, screw Iran, we've done enough, and as far as Israel goes, well, why is that any of our business? Does that concern you? You see this as a growing sort of movement in this country?
I think we've all lost our mind. The theme of my song "Okay" is we're not okay. Something's deeply broken in all our moral institutions. Certainly the media has become, in many ways, Hamas propaganda. Certainly our college campuses are just raging with anti-Semitism, of course, and we have, the Rashida Tlaibs of the world. So I don't understand. how the world has found this kind of moral equivalency, the oppressor, the oppressee, all of this kind of dogma and indoctrination. And, the first word of my song is, this is a time for choosing, because if we don't stand up for what's good, what's right, we don't stand up for Israel, we don't stand up for Ukraine, this all started with Afghanistan, then we're going to lose this. We're going to lose this freedom, this democracy. It's not guaranteed. And that's one reason I went to Israel. When that song came out and Israel shared my video, I got thousands of emails from Israelis, saying thank you, because they feel abandoned, because they have been. So I think, I'm not Jewish. This is not a Jewish issue. This is a human issue. This is a fight for civilization against those who want to tear it down. The UN is basically a partner to Hamas of what kind of world we live in. And the fact that more people are not outraged and standing up, it's not a political thing, it's a moral thing. And that's why, we have work to do, and the arts has to be part of it. Mark, the music industry has shamed itself historically. On 9/11, after 9/11, Paul McCartney put on the concert for New York. Every icon was there singing for New York, condemning Osama bin Laden. I played my little song, Superman. What's the difference between October 7th and 9/11? It's evil. And the music industry is crickets, not one word. It's a disgrace. It is a total disgrace. I'm with you on all of this.
Mm-hmm. What got you interested in this sort of thing? Just because you're a red-blooded, patriotic American? Which is enough.
I guess it shouldn't be hard. It's like Afghanistan. You don't abandon your allies you promised to protect to terrorists. Ukraine. Putin's trying to reconstitute the Soviet Union, committing atrocities in Ukraine. It's like, I grew up under Reagan. It's like, you don't allow that to happen. October 7th, you massacre women, rape women, behead babies. There's no context. So to me, it's very simple. And the fact that people try to contextualize it and excuse it, it's very dangerous, and especially for our kids. Those are the ones who are at risk. And you look at the polls, and many of them support Hamas and Palestine. You look at what's going on at Columbia University right now. That is the next generation. And if we don't take steps to combat that, we're going to lose this. We're going to lose this. So I think the consequences couldn't be more dire. And, the last image of my video is Martin Luther King saying, hey, silence in the face of evil is complicity. And we're sure seeing a hell of a lot of complicity these days.
First of all, it's fantastic. So if people want to see it or get access to it, where do they go?
Yeah, you can just go to OK Fight for Fighting on YouTube. You can see the video. I just posted my performance at Square and my remarks to the Israelis yesterday. So that's also up there, just Fight for Fighting Hostage Square performance. But, it was pretty interesting. We were both there, but I'll tell you, I was a lot more nervous than you were. So I'm glad we both came back in one piece.
Can you say, you came in and out a little bit. What's the site again? One more time, Mr. Producer, flop it on all our social sites too, if you would. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, the OK video is on YouTube. It's just Fight for Fighting OK. And the Hostage Square performance is on YouTube also, Hostage Square Fight for Fighting. The website's fightforfighting.com, Fight for Fighting Music on Instagram. And look, you were very instrumental in my Can One Man Save the World song. And then we were together in Israel when Iran attacked. So, whatever we're doing, I think we're brothers in arms in some respect.
You're a good man, John. You really are. There are a handful in Hollywood, let alone in the music industry, but you're definitely one of them. And remind me not to vacation with you, would you?
Next time, I'm just going to have you be my bodyguard.
By the way, I had a bodyguard.
Oh, good.
There's some people who hate my guts, John. I have to be a little careful, I'm told. And so we had a bodyguard there. He was born in America, but he and his family moved from Brooklyn when he was like 5 or 6 years old. And he was a great guy, too. And the Israeli people live this every day, with Hezbollah shooting missiles, with Hamas doing what Hamas does, and on and on and on. I don't think that's portrayed properly by the American media, that these are people who are not bothering anybody, and they're told to commit suicide. And I'm very, very troubled by this administration's pretension. That is that they support Israel when they undermine it at every turn. That way they're hoping they get the Jewish vote and the river to the sea crowd at the same time. I am hoping that their effort to split that baby fails miserably, because there's good and there's evil, there's right and wrong, and there's liberty and tyranny. And if you're not going to stand up for the right side of that now, whether it's in Israel, whether it's Taiwan or Ukraine, then you need to look in the mirror and you need to rethink things. All right, John. Mark.
Thank you for saying that, buddy. Our side needs to hear that too. Republicans need to hear that. It looks like they're going to do Ukraine. And Secretary Blinken's statement of if Israel doesn't change their ways, they may become indistinguishable from Hamas, is the most disgusting statement I've heard by an American politician in my lifetime. And I've heard a lot. So you're right. I think America needs to get on the right side of history as well, because so far, Afghanistan, Ukraine, Israel, we have been a disgrace.
I think those so-called conservatives, and they're not conservatives to me, not in any traditional sense whatsoever, they're out of touch. 80% of the American people support Israel. A significant percentage of the American people do not support Russia against Ukraine. We're not talking about sending anybody money. We're talking about sending them arms. The way it works is the Pentagon has, effectively in the Treasury Department, when we say we're sending $3 billion for arms, That money is credited to the country. All that construction, the jobs, the development occurs here in the United States, and that's what is actually sent, other than maybe 10%. That's what's actually sent to these countries that do not have industries big enough, Taiwan, Ukraine, or Israel. All right, John, God bless you, my friend. You take care of yourself. We'll keep in touch.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for having me.
You're a great patriot. Take care of yourself. He is the best.